and welcome to another video. So today we are checking out a OTK dragon deck. So of course OTK decks are designed for one-turn kills, and the idea of this one, of course, if you've played any DragonCraft in Unlimited, you would know, is the Phoenix Roost, Zeal, and Lord of Seas. So that's your 3-card combination that you need. You of course Phoenix Roost waste at least 1 turn minimum, sometimes 2, depending on if you're playing this on curve or not. And then you go for your Wind Zeal and your Dragon Lord of the Seas to really finish off the game, since of course Zeal gives it Storm and it can deal some massive damage. Otherwise, you're using the other cards in the early game to either get to those cards or to mitigate damage and lethals, and that is something that Zoe actually does really well on top of that. So we are going to get right into this and check it out. So my first game here, which it turns out we get another black long-term loading screen, is going to be against the Dragon. When it pops up, here we go. So Dragon on Dragon matchup for Unlimited. Typically most people are running this Dragon deck, although there are some Satan Dragons I've seen floating around. We just have to wait and see which one of the two they're going for. And this is a really bad hand, definitely an instant dump on everything there, and into a much better hand. We've actually got 2, 3, and 4 all setting up to draw out of our deck. In particular, a Dragon Follower and an Amulet for the 2 and 4, and then Pure Hearted just for pure draw is really quite nice. And I don't mind getting Sneer of Disdain on top of this, because that's actually not too bad. It's just a pity I couldn't have got Zoe as a turn 1 play, then that would have been ideal. But we have got Zeal, so there's 1 of 3 cards we need. Uriel will guarantee the Phoenix Roost. So now we're only missing 1 more, and of course we get Phoenix Roost off our Pure Hearted, so now we don't need it. But it's still better off milling out our deck as much as we can, while also dealing with. So, of course, great, another Phoenix Roost. So now I made Uriel pretty much completely useless to try and play out. I probably still should have went for it for the potential damage, but I mean, at this point, it wasn't going to be a problem. I've also got Overwhelming Crush, which actually is pretty good if we're looking to just get a DragonCraft follower out of our deck. So, no problem here. I decided to trade in, try and get something. Didn't really get anything, so I'm just going to play the Phoenix Roost and hope for the best. I mean, it's a little bit of a risk, but it looks like, considering what I've seen them play so far, they're probably not playing what I'm playing. Look like they're playing a pretty traditional ramp dragon, so I deemed it was pretty safe to just push it out now and take advantage of as many spells and stuff as I could. And that worked wonders, because it turns out we managed to get Lord of Seas, so next turn is lethal. And our opponent played literally nothing, which is strangely odd. Not that it would have mattered too much. I mean, this thing is pretty powerful. It's basically becomes a 30 damage storm at that point, so we don't even need anywhere near that amount to win the game. And coming up for our next game is Dragon vs. Rune. So they have got the new Love the Vital outfits. I believe that is Ceres's outfit, for memory, I think. I think it's the Love the Vital ones. I mean, there is Princess Connect too, but I barely remember those characters. Was never a big fan of those series. I know what they are, I don't really follow them though. So we're starting off pretty solid, honestly. Good turn 1 play. We've already got all our pieces in our hand. The only real problem now is that we don't really have anything else. We have no way to counter anything. So I'm not looking forward to that. And sorry, no, Rune wasn't Ceres. Ceres is Shadow, of course. I got confused for a second there, but Rune's is, I don't even remember. That's how unimportant it was at the time. I'm sure someone will remember in the comments and put it below. We're just pretty much doing our draws at the moment. We can't do anything until at least turn 5 or 6 where we can actually start making plays, since I don't want to waste the Altered Fate yet. Honestly, Altered Fate isn't super useful. It's mostly used for when you're bricking or if your Zeal combo gets completely shattered. They're the only 2 situations where Altered Fate is actually usable, so typically you're just holding onto it as an extra card if you've already got your setup going. But when you need Altered Fate, it makes a huge difference. It can definitely be a crutch card where you either win or lose by the Altered Fate, so it's why it's included and not just completely dumped out of the deck. Otherwise, if it served like little to no purpose, I probably would have just dumped it and got something else. So our opponent's doing really, really well here. They've dealt a massive amount of damage, leaving me with just 4 health. And that top deck there pretty much seals the game for us. Phoenix roosting it, gets us playability, and we can actually go face for 6, so that's nice. And now we're protected for the entire turn against all potential damage, so it doesn't matter what they play. And since they couldn't put up a ward, and even if they really could, Zeal and Lord are going to finish this off. Very, very simple lethal there. Definitely required a good top deck, but even if we hadn't, I was potentially going to try and wipe as much as I could. Or potentially ult fate for something. I don't know what I could have aimed for, but I wasn't going to just lay down and take it, that's for sure. So the one thing that a lot of unlimited decks seem to have in common lately are that they're all very quick finishing decks. Most of these decks I found finish around turn 6 or 7 and don't really give any chance to respond after that, whereas rotation's at a point now where most decks are on the slower timer. Roach and stuff can still be reasonably fast, but are a lot more luck based, whereas things like Haven and that can typically drag out games if you don't let them obviously build a board. This deck though, obviously is the core finishing at turn 7, that's the ideal finisher for you, and hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you did, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below. Until next time guys, see ya.